Hey, my friends, coming to you live here from La Casa. La Casa. I just thought I'd come over here live. Hey, I did a live broadcast from my office. I hated the video. Oh my gosh, the video quality was horrendous. I don't know if it's YouTube. It's supposed to be an HD camera, have my lighting. I don't know what the deal was, but man, it was horrible. So I'm here at the house and just thought I'd come on here live. I need to do more of these YouTube lives, but I figured I'd talk to you a little bit about debt. You know, we're on a mission now, and we're getting prepared for September, and we're gonna focus about living debt free. Are you guys ready to live debt free? Here, let me brush my hair. All right, you guys ready to live debt free? I'm gonna show you how to get out of debt. You know, first of all, there's good and there's bad debt, and the difference between the two. And we'll talk a little bit about that maybe if we have enough time to get into the details today. But debt in itself basically means you owe somebody. There's a required payback, and how it's paid back. There's a good and a bad debt. And some people say, well, how could there be a good debt? Is debt really good? Can debt be good? Well, yeah, it can be good if you know how to use it. You know, there's a certain president in which we had on last term who said he was a master at debt. And what did he do with debt? And then there's that same question that people would have is, how much did he pay in taxes? And so if we connect the dots, the middle class, which are the big losers, sad to say, they're the big losers when it comes to debt of the middle class. The poor don't lose on debt because nobody wants to loan them anything. And the rich know how to use debt that they can benefit from it. But the one who loses out is the middle class, because the middle class are the ones that end up having to get into so much bad debt. The middle class, by average, has about 700 to 720 scores on their credit report. They have an asset they have a house, 2 cars, maybe even 3 cars. They go out on vacation. They get all these credit cards. They get credit cards upon credit cards. They probably have American Express Gold or Platinum, or they have the Visa, MasterCard, and with high interest rate, you know, and so they're living off of that debt. And here's what they do. They buy the Louis Vuittons, they buy the designer clothes. This is the middle class, but they're buying it with their credit cards because everything is focused on going after the middle class. When the P's in Washington, D.C., los políticos, let me do it in Spanish, de los políticos in Washington, D.C., when they say we have to get the rich to pay their fair share, what they're actually saying is that the middle class is going to pay the tax, because the middle class, they don't know any better. And that's what I'm wanting to get rid of. That's why I'm talking about getting rid of debt, because the majority of the people that are in debt are middle class. The rich know how to manage their money. The poor don't have very much money to manage. But the middle class are the ones that are in big, big debt. And some people say, I don't think I'm in big debt. I'm middle class, and I'm middle class, and I think I have a lot of debt. I don't think I'm middle class because I'm living paycheck to paycheck. But you're making total household income. You ready for this? About $120,000 to $150,000 a year. But you're actually living your lifestyle as if you're making $35,000 to $50,000 a year. The rest of that is paid out in debt. And that's what we're on a mission for, is to clear off that debt, to show you how to do it. So first, here's what that ex-president did. Ex-president in his business is in real estate. People who own real estate use real estate as tax shelters given to us by the politicos. And how do they get tax sheltered? Well, when they get money, or they get a check, or they get a large tranche of cash that typically they're going to have to pay probably 45%, 48% in taxes, or they can take that cash and buy a piece of property. And then once they buy the piece of property, they borrow against the property. They actually have taken their money and have turned it into a debt. It's called good debt. They bought the piece of property with their cash. They turned around and they and they pulled out a debt. And when you receive a debt, there's no taxes on debt. That's what's called good debt. But listen to the process. Large tranche of cash invested into real estate or you created a debt, you invested into real estate or invested into something, and you borrow against it. So that way you still have access to your cash. And you may be saying, yeah, but how's that good debt? Well, number one, they pay no taxes on that money. Number two, they don't have to pay that money back right away. They don't have to. Could be 30 years. They could be making monthly payments, find a renter, put a renter in, the renter starts making payments and etc. As long as they don't have what's called a realized profit, they don't have to pay any taxes on it. Now, I'm talking about mainstream, okay? Now, there's some CPA that's kind of nitpicking, and you can nitpick all you, well, what if this and what if that? I'm just showing you how you can have a good debt. That's a good debt. And middle class haven't figured out how to get around that. So they have their property, they're trying to pay off their property, they're making the payments on their credit cards, they're making the payments on their cars, and they haven't quite figured out how to turn it into good debt. And that's okay. And I'm not an advocate of you getting into good debt. I want you to get rid of debt. I want you to live in a zero debt environment, because then after that, then we'll start talking about how you can live your life without having, it's not about tax sheltering. It's about peace and freedom. That's what I want. I want you to live in peace. I want you to be free. I'm not telling you how to stay away from paying taxes. Jesus tells us, give to God what belongs to God, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So pay your taxes. That's fine. Okay? I'm not trying to show you how to shelter or from your taxes. No, I'm just trying to tell you how to get out of debt. Now, so you say to yourself, well, I'm middle class and I got all this debt. How do I get out of this debt? Well, first of all, let's attack the bad debt. Worst debt ever are the debts that you owe, meaning you're actually paying penalties. If you're paying any penalties on any debt, but you have other debt, like other credit cards that you're not paying penalties on, you can actually utilize the liquidity or the profit that you have or the available debt that you have on your credit cards to be able to pay off those that are bad debt. And here's what you do. So let's say you have a credit card that you have about $1,000 worth of liquid cash that you can actually extract or you can borrow against, okay? But then you have these credit cards that are $2,000 in debt. You haven't been able to make that payment or you're behind. You have the fallback. In order for this to work, you got to be behind. That's the worst case debt. Here's what you do. You call that credit card company that you're behind on, and you call them up and you start off with this statement. You ready? Here it comes. I need help. That's it. I need help. 3 words. I need help. Can you help me? I need help. That's what I said. I need help. And they say, what can you help me with? Well, I'm trying to figure out how to pay this off. I don't have all the money to be able to pay for it. Is there a way that we can settle for a less amount so I can get this off of my back? I need help. Can you help me? And what's going to happen is that person who's getting paid probably $15 an hour he's allotted to about, in most cases, knock 25 to 30% off of your debt that you owe. You don't even know that. But the magic is, or the miracle is, I need help. If you could do that, big deal. That's huge. Then when they give you that lower amount, that 30%, you can say, you know what, man, can we do 50%? You can counter it. You don't have to put up with whatever it is that they offer. Now, whatever they offer, you already are winning. Winner, you're winning. Okay, but now, what do you do now? Here's what you do. You counter them. And they say 30% or 25%. You tell them, you think we could do 40%? Instead of, let's say it's $1,000 debt, and they want to say you're going to pay $800, say, can we do $400 and just pay it off? I think I could do $400. And they're most of the time going to say no, because they're going to respond back, but they're going to knock it down even lower than the original offer in most cases. Not every case, most cases. But whatever it is, that little banter back and forth is you are making money. This is the way an investor looks. You're making money. You just eliminated on that first I need help. They probably dropped off $300 off the $1,000 debt. Now you go and you got $700, you just made $300, right? So then you tell them, hey, can I give you $400? Just pay it, wipe it off. If I could do it right now, just pay the whole thing off. I got $400. And they're going to say yes or no. If they say no, they're going to come back and drop it a little bit more. Try to help. Or they might do 2 payments. Don't do 2 payments. You want 1 payment, 1 payment. And then when you have that 1 payment, then whatever it is that you settle at, whatever you feel comfortable with, and say, okay, I want to pay this. I'm going to pay it on my debit card. And you give them that Visa credit card number, debit card, credit card. You give them that Visa credit card number. In most cases, credit cards and debit cards process the very same way. And so you pay it off through that other card that you have extra credit on. And what you've done is you've just saved your money. Now you say, well, now I just rolled it over to this other. That's fine, because now what you're going to do is the money monthly that you are paying on that bad debt card, you're going to take that money and you're going to add it to that other card of yours. And now you're doubling up your payments. Never pay minimum. Remember that. Okay, never pay minimum. So that's how you handle bad debt, worst debt ever. Now the second step is so you got worst debt. We dealt with worst debt. Now let's deal with bad debt. Bad debt is your credit cards. Now you're making payments on your credit cards. You have to pay them off. You have to pay off your credit cards. You're at 30% interest, 29% interest, and you don't even know it. Most cases, people don't even know it. So here's what you're going to do. No longer are you going to wait for the statement to come in before you make the payment. Make the payment on the 25th day. Can you do that? 5 days before the due date? Not after, not on, but do it before you get a bill. Here's what happens. When you pay 25 days before, that money goes to your principal and not your interest. And you just keep doing that and keep adding and just dig it away, and you're going to pay off that credit card. So that's the second thing of being able to deal with it. Do not get don't get an equity loan to pay your credit cards. Do not get an equity loan to pay your credit cards. I'd get an equity loan to go make an investment to make more money. And that extra profit, put that on your credit card, because then it becomes a tax-free event. Okay? So don't ever use your equity on your property to pay off your credit cards. You want to use the equity on your property to make an investment to generate more cash flow so you can pay off whatever debts with the cash flow. That becomes a tax-free event. All right? Well, I hope this stuff has been helping you. I'm going to give you tons of other tips. I got millions of them. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I tried to make this as low as 15 minutes. I went a little longer than I thought. I'm at 13 minutes right now. Hey, I'm Clark Ortiz. Why don't you hit share, let other people know about these videos, and we're going to do the best we can to keep these things going. All right? Hey, remember, Jesus loves you. So do I. Go take the day on. Or go take the night on. God bless.